Now, the U.S. unemployment rate remains above 8%, but for veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, it is much higher. It's over 12%. Retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel and author of Kane at Gettysburg, Ralph Peters, joins the company right now. Colonel, you say, let me get this right, you say that Hollywood plays a big role in our vets coming back to no jobs? Explain it.
Well, first of all, Stu, I have to make it absolutely clear. Our vets don't want handouts. They don't want freebies. They want a fair shot at a decent job. And for the most part, they get it. But there are real structural problems in the economy, as you know. But also, look at the Hollywood films that feature or include returning veterans from our recent wars or from Vietnam. When have you ever seen a film about a well-adjusted vet who starts his own business, raises a healthy family? I mean, that's the majority of vets. The movies are always, lefty rants about vets about to explode in the workplace. But it's not just Hollywood films and TV. Let's be honest. The 24/7 media, whether it's news or infotainment, they also love the stories about, vets gone wild, vets who can't make it, homeless vets. Look, Stuart, I know personally hundreds of vets and somewhat thousands of vets. I don't know one who's gone nuts. I don't know one I'd be afraid to be in the room with. I don't know one who's unemployed, as a matter of fact, and I don't even know one who is, who's failed in life in general. Most vets do well.
It's interesting you say that, because during these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, Fox News and other news organizations embedded reporters with the troops, and we frequently put the troops on television. They were being interviewed. Without exception, they were very high-quality people. Organized, disciplined, trained. They did what they had to do. They were just fine human beings. And I juxtapose that, our experience from seeing these people in the field, I juxtapose that with what you're talking about. The image of the returning vet as portrayed on television frequently in the dramas, and especially by Hollywood. There is a complete juxtaposition in the reality of the people in the field and how they're portrayed. Now, what can we do about this?
Well, first of all, I do have to make this blunt statement that any employer looking for a dependable employee who knows how to show up in time cannot do better than hiring a vet. Now, what can we do about it? Well, it goes back to employers. Employers shouldn't allow themselves to be frightened by the latest military horror film at the Metroplex. They have to give people with honorable discharges a chance. And I do say that much, that the one thing an employer should check is that the soldier, Marine, sailor, airman has an honorable discharge, because in the military, as anywhere else, you're going to get some bad apples. But that's the only thing that matters. That's the litmus test.
Let me just pick up on something you just mentioned. Showing up on time, getting to work on time. Charles Payne is with me. He had a very interesting statistic the other day that, it's something like, tell me, Charles, was it half the people?
Yeah, Colonel, over half, Empire State, they do a survey of businesses, and they say the difficult things they have, over half the people, this number, by the way, growing, just the punctuality. They won't show up on time, and another half had poor interpersonal skills. It's amazing to me, because before, to your point, if you showed up with the discharge from the military, honorable discharge, you almost always got the job.
Yeah. Well, let me make this personal. I was a wild, uncontrolled young kid. I joined the Army as a private. The Army gave me a ferocious work ethic. And I'll tell you, for young soldiers who are used to showing up at formation at 5 or 5:30 a.m., showing up at 8 a.m. is a luxury. I cannot stress enough that these young soldiers overwhelmingly are of tremendous quality. Now, also, when you look at the statistics, I want to point out, as you know, numbers can lie. And part of the problem with the higher rate for vets being unemployed isn't that they're nuts. It's that the Army, the military, has always been the great chance for people to get out of depressed rural areas, out of barrios, out of ghettos. And if the end of one enlistment, even with an honorable discharge, if your choice is to go back to the depressed area in Appalachia or back to the barrio or back to the ghetto, the jobs aren't there. So the military can give you a great job, train you, prepare you, but the military cannot provide private sector jobs. So some of that really is structural.
Okay, sir. This is something we feel very, very strongly about, and we're very glad that you pointed this out for us today. And we hope that employers watching this program and watching you, Colonel, will take note of the quality of people coming out of our armed services today. Thanks for joining us, Colonel. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for the segment.
Yes, sir.